So I thought this would be a bit of fun as an off-the-cuff video. I just got a box from Japan. This is some stuff that I've gradually been purchasing from Neokyo, which is one of the proxy services in Japan. There are others like Bai and From Japan, but I tend to use Neokyo. That sounds like I use them all the time. I haven't really. But there's still a few things that I would still like to get from Japan, as most of my game collection is Japanese. So without further ado, I've already opened up the main box. Let's have a look at what I purchased. Now, I recently sold a lot of Amiga stuff that I was no longer using it. There was an Amiga 500 and some games and all that kind of stuff. So hopefully they've now all gone on to people who are going to make better use of them. Needed to do it just, financially, but I was left with a little bit of money to purchase some of the things that I actually did want. So without further ado, what have we got? So first of all, it looks to be the S-Video cable that I purchased for the Super Famicom. This will also work on the Nintendo 64 and the GameCube, I believe. But this happens to be the earlier one that was for the Super Famicom. As you can see, there's no mention of GameCube or Nintendo 64 like on some of the later packaging that this cable came in. I mostly record Super Famicom stuff these days using S-Video. But unfortunately it's just like a knockoff cable. It's not the original, so there's a bit of snow on the screen, and I've confirmed it is probably the cable. It's not the Super Famicom itself, because I've got two different types of Super Famicom here and they both exhibit the same kind of picture quality when using the cable I've got. So hopefully this will improve things somewhat. Plus it's in box and it looks to be in really good condition. One of these cropped up in a second-hand store close to where I used to live in Mie Prefecture in Nabari, Furie. But unfortunately, when I went to go and buy it, it had already been sold, and they had one of these boxed for about 700 yen from memory, and that is amazing. This one itself was also quite a good deal, 1250 yen I think I paid for this. So I always hang on for stuff like this that's in box, because ultimately that's the kind of stuff I want in my collection. Anyway, it's just an S-Video cable. Let's move on. The next one looks like it could be very exciting, but actually it's an empty box. I've shipped cardboard boxes across the planet. This is a Game Boy Color box. It's the blue shade, as they called it in Japan. I've always called this colorway teal. About 4 years ago, I bought my Game Boy Color off of Yahoo auctions in Japan. It was just the unit itself, and I've since put a LCD with backlit screen in it, changed the case and that, but I've retained the original shell and stuff, and I wanted to get the box for it, and I managed to find this for, again, maybe 1500 yen, something like that, with all the manuals inside. So I'll check that later, but that's a pretty good deal, I think. And where possible, I do like to try and get boxes for my consoles, but I know there are going to be some that I'll probably never find. But anyway, so there's that. Next, it looks to be a bunch of the loose manuals that I've been looking for. Yeah, so what we've got here is the manual for Kicks, the Game Boy game. Again, I mostly buy loose Game Boy games, or used to. I don't really buy any anymore. But in Japan, I pretty much only bought either loose cartridges, which makes up about 99% of my Game Boy stuff, or if it was the really early stuff, like the 1989, 1990 stuff from Nintendo that came in these really small, cute boxes. Those ones, if I could find them for a good price, I'd buy them. And I bought this in a second-hand store, of which the name I can't remember now, but it was in Kizugawa City, which is the south of Kyoto. And it was only about 700 yen or something, and that was for the box and cartridge. So that was pretty good, but it didn't have the manual. I knew that when I bought it. And so I found that on Mercari via Neokyo, and I think I paid about 200 yen for that manual. So that's good. Next one is for a Super Famicom game. This is Magical Taruto-kun Magic Adventure. This is an okay platformer, maybe a good platformer if I'm going to be a little bit kind to it. It was actually one of the very last boxed Super Famicom games that I bought in Japan before I left last year in March of 2025. Because of the colours that were used on the box, they're the kind of colours that fade a lot in sunlight, and also being a game very much aimed at young kids, a lot of the box copies, whilst they're out there. They're in pretty bad condition, but I eventually found a nice one in Suragaya in, I think it was Ozaki city in Gifu. And I think I only paid somewhere in the region about 700 yen. Magic number for me, isn't it? 700 yen. For the boxed game, obviously cartridge included in the box, but no manual. So I've just been looking out to pick up a manual to finish that one off. This one is, again, a Super Famicom game manual. This one is for Flying Hero, Bugyu... Oh, that's a bit of a tongue twister, isn't it? Bugiru no Daiboken, so Bugiru's Big Adventure. So that's quite a hard name, but that's that character there anyway. Flying Hero was a game I found loose in Mansaido in Kitakami City in Iwate when I used to live there. It's quite a rare game even in Japan, so you wouldn't see it very often, much less in boxed condition, and it would be horrifically expensive. But one of the ways I saved a lot of money in Japan, at least initially, was to buy games that were just the cartridge. In fact, I've got the cartridge just here. So that would go with that game. The box is unfortunately folded up in a shoebox on it because I don't have storage space to have all the games out. They're just all sort of in a suitcase, actually. In fact, the suitcase I brought them back to the UK in. But I found that cartridge in Mansaido for about 2,000 yen, I think it was, which was a pretty fair price for this game. It's quite hard to come by. And it's another game where the box fades a lot in sunlight because it's that bright orange colour, so it catches the UV light. So where you would find examples of the game, they were usually in poor condition, externally at least, and very expensive with it as well. Certainly not a price I was willing to pay. But I found a bit of a hack, and that was to buy loose cartridges and then find the boxes and manuals separately. And it used to be that this worked out a lot cheaper than buying complete in-box software. And I think Suragaya eventually cottoned on to this, but by which time I had mostly found all of the boxes and manuals that I needed. So I saved myself a ton of money doing it that way. And it just so happens that Flying Hero, I found a box about 2 years or so ago on Mercari whilst I was still living in Japan. And I finally at last found a manual to go with it, so that completes that one. So that's really rad. Another manual, this one is for Zelda no Densetsu Yume o Mirushima, or Link's Awakening as you probably know it as Game Boy game. Probably one of the best games on the Game Boy period. It is a phenomenal game, and as a huge Zelda fan I thought, well, I really owe it to myself to find the manual and box for that game. Now, my copy of Link's Awakening is actually in really poor condition. It's quite yellowed on the back of the cartridge, but I don't care. It still plays great. But hopefully, as we'll see a little bit later on as I get through the box, I now have the complete manual and bits and pieces to go with that manky old cartridge of mine. So that's pretty cool. Again, I paid no more than about 200 yen for this. Flying Heroes manual was a bit more, about 2,000 yen. So, but it's a bit of a rare game, and overall I'd have completed it way cheaper than what I would have paid for complete and box examples in a second-hand store or online. Next is more Zelda by the looks of it. These are the Game Boy Color Zelda games, Oracle of Seasons, or as it's known in Japan, Zelda no Densetsu, Fushigi no Kinomi, Taichi no Sho, and Oracle of Ages, Zelda no Densetsu, Fushigi no Kinomi, Jiku no Sho. So slightly different names in Japanese, because that's basically saying mysterious seed or mysterious fruit or mysterious nut, I suppose. So yeah, anyway, but they basically are the same things. But yeah, those are basically complete in box manuals, cartridges. It's a game that I almost bought loose, like I did with the vast majority of my Game Boy collection, but I decided to get box copies, and there were actually box copies in the Mansaido second-hand store that I mentioned a moment ago in Kitakami City about four years or so ago. But I passed it up, and I kind of regretted it because it's a game that's gone up in value. So perhaps inside of this box, these are the most expensive things that I bought. Probably cost me about £20 each for those. So, but as a huge Zelda fan, that's worth having. The Zelda stuff doesn't stop there, so But just first of all is Tales of Eternia. This is the third game in the Tales of series for the PlayStation, followed on from Tales of Fantasia, which was originally a Super Famicom game, later ported or revamped. What's the word that people use these days? Remastered for the PlayStation in '98. But shortly before that, the second game in the series debuted on the PlayStation, which was Tales of Destiny. That was the first game that made it outside of Japan. It was released in North America. And then the third game in the series is Tales of Eternia, which was known as Tales of Destiny 2 in North America, even though there's no connection really between them. So yeah, this is the next game that I'm going to move on to. The reason I've not picked up Tales of Destiny is because I'm going to play the PlayStation 2 versions of that. But I really enjoyed Fantasia, and I'm really looking forward to getting stuck into this one. So it's still a 2D style. Should be a lot of fun. So I'm going to gradually work my way through the Tales games, I think. But we're not done with the Tales games, not by far. What else have we got in here? We'll go to this one next. A little bit of bubble wrap on this one, so let's just unwrap that. Might just get my little X-Acto knife. Don't want to tear this and then crush the box. There we go. So inside this bubble wrap is another empty box. This is the box to go with Link's Awakening. So it's not in perfect condition. I don't really get too hung up on it. I mean, it's pretty decent really for a cardboard box that's years old. But it should have inside the plastic. Yeah, fantastic. I thought it did. Ooh, right, nails on a chalkboard. But that now means that with my Mankey cartridge, the manual that I had a moment ago, that will complete my box copy of Link's Awakening. So that's really cool. Keeping the Zelda theme alive, I think, is the official Nintendo Koshiki guidebook, as it would be called, for Link's Awakening. So that looks to be in really good condition. A few years ago, I bought the the upper and lower edition of the guidebooks for Link's Awakening, A Link to the Past. And they're really, really good guidebooks for the Super Famicom, so I thought I would treat myself to a copy of the official guidebook for Link's Awakening as well, and that looks really, really good. So, and that's really great for my Japanese practice as well, is just keep reading, and that's what a lot of the stuff that's remaining in this box relates to. It's all about me keeping my hand in on a daily basis with Japanese, because I've pretty much studied all of the kanji, the 2,000 plus Chinese characters that Japanese uses in its writing system and in its language, and so the way to obviously keep growing with my skills is to keep reading. So and why not have fun with it? Next one is another guidebook, and this is one for Super Mario World. So again, it's the Nintendo Koshiki, the official guidebook. It's actually smaller than what I thought it would be. I suppose it's basically the same size, which is great, but just in landscape orientation, so that's pretty cool. So yeah, still one of the very best games ever made, and this looks to be in really nice condition, so looking forward to reading through that one. We'll go back to the books in just a moment. I think this is the last thing that's a bit different in here. This is Tales of Symphonia, as it says quite clearly there. It's written in English below. This is the PlayStation 2 edition, so I decided not to go for the GameCube edition. I just thought, let's just keep things simple, let's stick with PS2. A lot of people say that this has longer load times, but apparently it's got more things, more content than the GameCube edition. It also apparently runs at 30 FPS rather than 60 FPS, but I'm very much of the opinion that if you're having a good time with a game, it doesn't matter whether there are technically better versions of the game out there. If you get a great experience out of a game, then just enjoy it, you know. Don't worry about what you could be playing or looking over your shoulder thinking, oh, I should have got this version. I've always just thought, well, let's just see how it goes. And it is, you know, well thought after. It just has a couple of things which people, you know, give it a knock compared to the GameCube version. So really looking forward to getting stuck into that. But I'll be playing Tales of Eternia first. So and then the last things in the box. First of all, we've got more Zelda stuff. So these are the, again, Nintendo Koshiki guidebooks, the official guidebooks for Oracle of Seasons and Oracle of Ages. So by this stage, I think it was the year 2000 or 2001 that both of those games were released. The style and size of the guidebooks has slightly changed. Still published by Shogakukan, I can see. I think the others were Shogakukan as well. Yeah. So they're definitely Shogakukan still at this point. So, yeah, and they look to be in really nice condition. So, yeah, really cool to have those. Again, all great for my Japanese practice. Then moving on to the last things that I've purchased, more guidebooks. So these are the guidebooks, the official Namco guidebooks for Tales of Destiny, Tales of Fantasia, and Tales of... Oh, Fantasia. So there's 2 volumes, it looks like. Yeah, you've got the upper and lower volumes there. The 2 guidebooks associated with Tales of Fantasia and Tales of Destiny, which I don't actually have here, but this is actually for the PlayStation edition. But as I'll hopefully be able to show in just a moment, these guidebooks are literally works of art. They are incredible inside. The amount of artwork and everything that's in it is just beautiful. And in this day and age of AI slop and all the rest of it, it's a real salve to all of that crap. Oh, I forgot about that. This is the user guide or the instruction booklet for PC Engine, as you might be able to just see underneath there. I've finally found a box for my PC Engine, the one that Tim Sanzian, via his good friend Gary, helped me find or acquire about, gosh, was it 8 years ago now? Something like that. So, yeah, it's really nice to finally pick this up. This is the Toriatsukai Setsumeisho, handling manual. So that will basically complete my PC Engine inbox system. So, and actually this looks in much better condition than what it looked like on the photos on Mercari. So that's a bit of a win. I think the dealer stamp on the back of the manual, if I remember rightly from the photos, had a bit of a smudge, but that's really cool. So nice to do that. What you'll notice about my method of game collecting is that sometimes I think way in advance. I think to myself, what can I do to save myself money now? And then eventually I circle back around on completing either the games that I want complete in box condition or the consoles and so forth. So it's all about rounding off, my collection, if I can call it that. But it's all stuff that means something to me. So yeah. That's really cool. These are, of course, obviously all of the official Namco guidebooks to go with all of their PlayStation Tales of games. Not PlayStation 2, but the PlayStation ones. So I'll take the one out for Tales of Eternia in a moment, and I'll show you why I bought these. But that'll just wrap up what I've been rambling on about. So, tea glugged and this unwrapped. This is, like I say, the guidebook, the official Namco guidebook for Tales of Eternia. It's got these lovely plastic sort of covers, dust covers that protect the original paperback volume. Then you can actually see just about how that artwork is actually etched into this plastic cover as well, which is really, really beautiful. Just try and slip that back on there. I can't do it now. I'm just going to fold it over like that for now. And then likewise on the front, got all this lovely artwork. And then inside, as you might imagine, it is just a guidebook, but it's got a huge amount of information about the game in here. And as you go through, you start getting all the character portraits and stuff, obviously all done by hand. You've got all the details about the various characters and so forth. Information that's useful, such as their weight, their height, and so on and so forth, their age. Probably has their blood type, if I'm not surprised. Also goes into, by the looks of it, about the voice acting cast, I'm going to guess. Oh, sorry, no, this is all to do with the theme song that goes with it. So it's got all the lyrics there, and basically the group involved doesn't immediately jump out to me. And then essentially it sort of goes into all the mechanics to do with the game and so forth. So there's a vast amount of detail. One thing I noticed about Tales of Phantasia is that the manual really skimped on detail that came with the game. And that's obviously so that it could sell you guidebooks like this to fill in the gaps. So yeah, there's a huge amount of information in these books. But what fun it will be to read through all of this. After about 8 years of working very hard my Japanese, I can finally say I'm able to pretty much read stuff like this without having to look up something every 5 seconds. You know, I might have to look up the odd word here and there, but that's the whole point of doing it, really. Goes into details about all of the items, armour, robes, cloaks, ribbons, which usually goes on the female characters, I guess, shields, yeah, tate, guns and all sorts of maces. Yeah, it's just got all the details in there. Which is nice. And then I believe towards the back, if I remember rightly, there's lots of information about the characters and lots of concept artwork that goes with them. They've got interviews presumably with designers and stuff at Namco. So, oh, okay, so this is the interview with the voice acting cast by the looks of it. So, Seiyu interview, which is really cool. A bit of behind the scenes. So, yeah, it's a really, really beautiful thing to have. And then that goes through for all of the PlayStation games that I want to play from the Tales of series, apart from, like I say, Tales of Destiny. I think I'm just going to play that on the PlayStation 2. So you could argue, what do I need that guidebook for? But for Tales of Destiny, but it came as a bundle and it was a really good price. So I was really interested in Phantasia ones, but yeah, it's all good stuff and it's enjoyable stuff for me to read. Anyway, that's all I'm going to do for this one. Hope you found it somewhat interesting. And yeah, as and when I do another video, I'll see you then. Alright, take care. Bye.